All that kind of junk and garbage.
Yeah.
But we don't have code requirements.
Hmm?
No, we don't have code requirements.
Right. Okay. My computer says it's 7.
Right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this meeting to order. Aaron, can I get a roll call?
Brian Booth.
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Here. Joseph Lewis.
Here.
Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Chairman Patel.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from July 1st, 2025?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, consideration print. Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight is PC 251138. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for PC 251138?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Karen?
Brian Booth.
Aye.
Jason Wertz. Joseph Lewis.
Yes.
Lydia Galante.
Yes.
Chairman Patel.
Yes. Karen, can you present?
Yes. So the case on the agenda tonight is PZ 25-1138. The property is 400 South Prospect Street, which is Kemmerling Park. The request is by Insight Inc. on behalf of the owner, the Roselle Park District. And the public hearing is to consider a special use permit for a wireless cellular tower. The property is zoned R1 single family, which makes a cell tower a special use. And section 2-12 of the zoning ordinance regulates telecommunications and cell towers. Several cell towers exist in the village. Many of them are on industrial properties. And we also have several of the antenna structures themselves on village-owned equipment like water towers, the tower at the police station, things like that. They've submitted, the Park District through Insight has submitted plans for an 80-foot wireless cellular tower at Kemmerling Park. I gave some background history. Similar request was made in 2006, and it was not recommended for approval by the Plan Commission at that time and did not move forward. And now they've resubmitted a slightly different plan here in 2025. The tower is going to be located on the parcel of Kemmerling that fronts onto Roselle Road. So it's going to be approximately 286 feet from the property line along Roselle Road and 351 feet from the property line along Prospect. 44 feet from, and then the tower itself is 44 feet from the neighboring property line to the north and 55 feet from the neighboring property line to the south. The zoning ordinance requires a setback of the tower for at least equal to 110% of the height of the tower from an existing residence. So in this case, because it's an 80-foot tower, it's a minimum setback to a residence of 88 feet. The proposed tower is approximately 234 feet from the residence to the north and 209 feet from the residence to the south. They have proposed a tower that's designed to be look like a pine tree from a distance. It's the renderings were included in the packet, kind of showing what it would look like. It'll be contained within a 50 by 50 enclosure with 8-foot high wood privacy fencing. And they've also proposed numerous arborvitae trees along the enclosure as well to further block its view. It'll be accessed by the existing path that comes from Roselle Road towards Kemmerling. And then they'll have a paved area for people to access the site itself. The code also requires that if you're going to build a new tower, you have to have room for co-location for other carriers. So they show on the plans room for 2 additional carriers on the tower that they've proposed. They also included sort of like a heat map showing coverage, and Verizon, who would be the carrier for the tower at this time, shows that there's a fairly significant dead spot in the area where the tower is proposed to be located, that would increase coverage for people in that area. So the tower itself and their plans meet or exceed all of the minimum requirements in the zoning ordinance. And that concludes my report.
Okay, I have a question. How long are they planning on keeping this tower there? Any ideas?
That'd be a question for the applicant.
Okay.
I think they have a presentation too.
All right,
Want to ask them.
sure. Is the applicant here? Is the applicant here? Do you want to present? Okay, just in general, there are many people here, so the process is basically, if you have comments or questions, please come to the podium. I will have to swear you in before we begin, okay? So can you please do your presentation, but prior to that, I'll have to swear you in. Can you raise your right arm up, please? Right hand up. Do you swear the truth, tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And then can I also get your name and address?
Name is Greg DeBona, address is 2138 Countryside Circle, Naperville, Illinois.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, Chairman, members of the commission. Appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. I just mentioned my name, and I'm a consultant for Vertical Bridge, the structure owner and builder, and Verizon Wireless, who would be the anchor tenant on the structure. I'm going to start my presentation by talking a little bit about wireless communications. Then I'm going to discuss Verizon Wireless themselves and the selection process and how we chose this facility and location for this facility. Thank you. Could you go to the next slide? Thanks. Wireless communications is a huge part of our everyday lives. I'm willing to wager that everyone in this room has a phone similar to mine. I have an iPhone 15 and it's okay. And I'm certain you all rely on these devices for critical personal and business purposes. People use their phones for everything nowadays. Mapping, email, GPS services, people do their banking and finance, obviously social media, ordering food, booking reservations, shopping, and just so much more. Not only does wireless communications have a vital role in our everyday lives, but it's also extremely important to public safety. Having a reliable network is critical for the ability to make 911 calls in an emergency and also for location accuracy. So first responders can accurately pinpoint the location of the caller, because we all know that every second counts in an emergency. And then fire, police, and EMT all use their mobile devices to assist with their jobs. Having a good connection will only help them do their jobs better. Next slide. So Verizon Wireless operates what's known as the nation's best wireless network, and they are constantly monitoring this network to maintain the coverage their subscribers expect. First thing we do when we get a search ring is we look for existing structures, existing cell towers, buildings, water tanks, anything that can provide some elevation for us to attach to. After reviewing the area, there were no viable co-locatable structures in the area. And that's when we had approached the Park District. They were interested in not only the opportunity for revenue, but more importantly, the improved coverage the facility brings for their staff and the residents that use their facilities. So, oh, sorry, next one. So these are the coverage maps that Karen had referred to earlier. This is the one that shows no coverage without the site. If you go to the next slide, you can see how it improves drastically in the area and fills the gap in between the existing sites in the vicinity. The design, appearance, and location of the facility shown here. This here is the tower itself. It's an 80-foot tall tower with a 5-foot tall or 5-foot lightning rod on the top. Verizon's the anchor tenant and will be situated on top at a 75-foot elevation. And as you can see, the branches on there, it's going to be designed as a monopine. It'll be placed in the back of the lot, away from the street, in existing residential. And it'll be situated adjacent to existing trees to help it blend in a little bit more with the aesthetics of the area. Next slide. That's the location that we selected and agreed in agreement with the Park District. Next slide. And these are the renderings. This is along Roselle Road, right in front of the Kimberling Park sign, and the tower would be situated behind those trees, and you can really see it from this angle. If you go to the next slide, you'll be able to see a little better from this side. This is from the parking lot adjacent to the tennis courts. And you can see the tower there, it's straight ahead. But still blends in fairly well with all the greenery around it. And you can see that it'll have an 8-foot fence, and there will be trees and shrubs also planted around the fence to help screen the facility. So before I answer any questions, I just want to point out that what's being proposed is not unique. There are cell towers located in and around parks in the Chicagoland area. There are some examples that I know of myself. There's a tower just in your neighboring town in Itasca that's a 175-foot tall self-support tower that sits at a softball complex. Downers Grove, there's a 110-foot tall tower right outside the baseball diamond there. And then the last park there is actually one that I live near. It's where my kid has soccer practice. And there are 3 towers there, all well over 100 feet tall, right next to the park, or in the park. Oftentimes, these parks are the only available areas for carriers to locate their facilities to provide the coverage into the dense residential areas that surround them and where coverage demand the service. So, in summary, the new site will allow Verizon to continue providing seamless voice data services to the residents and visitors of Roselle. In a location that complements Verizon's network, meets the necessary code requirements, and receives support from the planning staff. And obviously the benefit of revenue for the Park District. That's the end of the presentation. I'll answer any questions.
So like I said, I had a question, 2 questions actually now. Number 1, what is the lifespan of this tower?
The lifespan?
Yeah, how long do you expect it to be there?
The lease, I
What is the lifespan of this tower is what I asked.
believe the lease is for 30 years. Typically, they last much longer, but they're broken up into 5-year terms.
And did Verizon consider repeaters or any other technology in place of this?
I mean, I believe that they do deploy small cells in some of the areas, and I think there's even one up on, it's one of the, it shows it on the map. The coverage map, the one that's up in the corner. They only cover a very small area and are very limited in terms of the traffic they can carry. So they generally don't fill in the gap that is along Roselle Road here. They have considered it.
Thanks. Any questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, what guidelines do you typically follow for safe distances from residential?
Well, whatever is required in the code.
For the village's code or for FCC or?
Well, the FCC doesn't define that. So they define operational levels for frequencies, and that's all part of Verizon's license, which they would have to comply with the FCC regulations.
So what guidelines do you suggest or would you follow if you had to look something up? I'm assuming half this room is here for the same reasons.
Well, I mean, I think this is something that, what is the FCC OA Part 65? I can't remember the name of the regulation, but there are regulations in place that limit how much they can expose the public to radiation. And this applies to all their facilities.
What was the closest distance to the first residential property that you have here? I mean, the property line is right there, but the first original
210
dwelling.
feet, I think is where measured.
Yeah, I'm pulling it. Yeah, 209, it looks like. Yeah, 209 to the property to the south, and then 234 to the property to the north.
Are you presenting this petition to us, or is it coming from the Park District?
I am. I represent Vertical Bridge, builder of the structure, Verizon.
Him or us?
Is your speaker on, sir?
Can you see if there's a
Dot.
green light?
Is there a green dot on the bottom?
See it?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Members of the public, any comments? Yes, please. Can I have you?
We have a,
Oh. Sir, before we could take any comments, can I please have you come up and I have to swear you in? Yeah, sorry about that, but this is the process. Can you raise your right hand up, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And I need your name and address.
David Tuminero, 339 South Prospect Street, Roselle, Illinois.
Okay. So you can ask him.
Question, the evaluation of any property around the cell towers, is there?
Not that I'm ever aware of. I've never seen an appraisal that's ever referenced a cell tower as something that factors into the value of a property.
Okay. We have, coming up, we have somebody that's going to speak on behalf of that the studies state that there are a significant devaluation in the property around a cell tower. Okay.
So Karen, looks like you've got a list of people that have submitted comments. Can you go through those?
yeah, Marcia Tuminero.
Yeah, and then I'll need to swear you in, of course.
We want to swear, can we swear everybody in at once?
Yeah, but can you do that? Was that? Yes. So everybody that's gonna basically say something today, can you
Sure.
please?
They can cut,
We-
yeah.
We'll still do that. So if you can, if you intend to speak, if you can please raise your right hand up. And then do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, I guess that's where everybody's sworn in.
Hi, my name is Marcia Tuminero. I live on South Prospect Street, 337, across the street from the proposed wireless cellular tower. I have many objections to this proposed construction. First, there is no independently verified evidence that any coverage gap exists. This is Verizon's. So Verizon, the one who wants to put up the cell tower, is saying that there's a coverage gap. Okay, so is there an independent? Okay. There is a site called coveragemap.com. It uses a crowdsourced speed test map and the FCC's signal strength data. And it claims that Roselle has 100% city coverage and near perfect reliability ratings through the major carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. So if more coverage is needed, why did Verizon not consider options like distributed antenna systems, small cells, or even microcells? They are low-powered solutions, but they provide localized coverage with minimal visual impact, as they are discrete and can be integrated into existing structures such as buildings and utility poles. So why were, you said those were considered, but then why were they deemed not appropriate for this particular? Oh, okay, all right. I mean, I have one more thing. You can answer that one, and then I have.
Coverages, this is a macro site, and microcells and small cells and DAS systems are all very limited in where they can cover. And they also require right-of-way access for those. And a lot of times they just don't have the agreements in place with the infrastructure partners that they would have to put that equipment on. This would be a coverage solution, not just for Verizon, but for any other potential carrier that would come around, like to co-locate on the structure. So if T-Mobile or AT&T were to come around, they'd also be able to place their equipment on there. And instead of placing equipment throughout the neighborhood, stringing along light poles or putting small cells all over the place, one site covers a vast area.
It also has more of a risk specifically to property values. As Dave said, as evidenced by a 2017 study from the Journal of Real Estate Finance and Economics regarding wireless towers and home values. The study assessed the impact of wireless communication towers on the value of residential properties. It examined the relationship between property values and wireless tower proximity and visibility within various specified radii for homes sold after tower construction. For properties located within roughly 2,400 feet of the closest tower, results reveal significant social welfare costs, with values declining roughly 2.5% on average and up to roughly 10% for homes within tower visibility range, such as my home across the street, as compared to homes outside the tower visibility range. So in total, properties within the 2,400 feet band could end up losing millions of dollars because of loss of property values from there being a cell tower within 2,400 feet of their home. So me personally, I would just like to say that I object to this, and I don't think the health and financial safety of the surrounding residents are worth a potential extra bar of cell coverage. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next.
No, I was trying to read. Debbie DeCristo? DeCristo? Yeah, thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you so much. So,
We have your name and address, please.
I'm Debbie DiCiniso, 370 Crestwood. So I'm wondering a couple of things. I just asked Dave, because I have a cell phone, don't have great coverage, and I don't know how far your tower is going to help. And also, I have AT&T. So is your tower going to help me very much? How does that work?
So at the moment, no, because this is Verizon's going to be the anchor tenant on this tower. However, with the known coverage deficiencies in the area, the one that you're referencing, it can only be a matter of time before AT&T comes to place this tower too. Considering it will be co-locatable and this space built on top, this space on the tower and within the compound for.
Okay, so one last piece. Sort of kitty corner to the Roselle Middle School is a Baptist church, and there's a cul-de-sac with some townhouses that end up at the Devlin water treatment. There's a big parking lot and a lot of greenery there. Could that be put there? Or is it too close? Is it too close to the houses?
Well, it's a slim lot. We did talk to the Baptist church.
Oh, did they
we
own
did-
the green?
They did. They own the
Got it.
property that goes all the way up to the water treatment facility. We did just have discussions with them. An agreement couldn't be made between the two parties. So we did vet that property. We also did talk to the water treatment, the Public Works Department about the water treatment facility, about
Yeah.
placing a tower somewhere there.
Yeah.
We were told that they weren't interested.
You have to, sorry, you can't just ask questions from the audience, so you have to do it as part of public comment. Just to, I don't want to single you out just for everybody. No, you're fine. I just want to, for everybody's future reference as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, next.
Tom Barino?
Can you please state your name and address?
Tom Marino, 205 East Walnut Street. I'll tell the truth.
It's fine. You're,
You're leasing this property, right?
Yes.
What's the terms?
I mean, you mean the rent? Yeah. I don't have the lease in front of me. I think it was a little over 2,000 a month is what they're getting.
When, I was told that with the previous one in 2006, the lease was actually like 15 grand a month.
God,
Oh, my wife was on the park board.
I've been working in the industry.
well,
15 grand.
Well,
Mainly, that's what they pay at like your,
there's supposed to be a big flagpole.
I just have.
that's, in my opinion, that's kind of irrelevant. It is what it is.
I was gonna say, it's a significant impact to the, you know, people that pay the taxes if we don't get the revenue.
Okay.
And my one bar on Verizon is way better than I get on AT&T. I had to take my company phone back. My neighbor can't work at home because they keep cutting out. And neither could I before I retired for a year. So won't be popular with the bunch, but I'm kind of for this.
Okay.
It's, you know, from the safety aspects, revenue aspects, it's a reasonable thing, but I'm also a little off because how good could this tree really look? It looks good in the rendering. What's it gonna look like in 5 years?
Popping out a Christmas tree.
Well, the whole flagpole thing was like that, and you could have run a big American flag up there.
Limitations to that.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Next.
Robert Copolis?
Robert Copeland, live 349 South Prospect. And if they put a tower up across the street from my house, it's all I'm going to do is see a tower. There's nothing more I'm going to see because it's directly across the street. And for what reason do we need a tower in the park district? That's what I don't understand. You know, why are they wanting to put a tower in the park district? You know, that's my question. I don't know if he's answered that or not, but, I mean, the park district is so, particular about what they do. Why would they want, an industrial thing right there? I didn't buy a house in an industrial area. That'll be like it's being in an industrial park. That's my biggest, beef about it is, you know, why would I want to see a tower in front of, right in front of the house?
Understood.
And I've been told it's not supposed to be healthy for these towers. Why can't we put it on the tower and the water tower here? Why can't you put antennas up there? That's not a mile away. Water tower to my house is not a mile away. Okay, so what, 0.8 miles? Well, don't you have power units that you go through signals? Well, then there's got to be another way than in the park district. I mean, what does the sense of having a park if it's for recreation, and now we're going to make an industrial park out of it? That's my biggest, concern, why do you have to have something industrial in a park district?
This is why we concealed the structure. I showed examples of towers that are not concealed at all. I feel like we've done a fairly good job of trying to blend it in with the aesthetics and not have it stick out so it doesn't look like a cell tower.
So, sir, I think your concern is valid. I think we understand that as far as as far as this commission is concerned, so that's fine. Then we'll debate that and
Why would the village of Roselle even entertain that?
that's
So
not something. that we
Village
can-
Park District is separate from the Village of Roselle.
Such a thing in the park?
I'm not privy to that. I'm not privy to the reasoning behind that or what was made.
Um, They break the taxes very much so for the park district, for the pool and everything else that they've done. So I mean, like, I don't think they need $2,000 more. And that's my
Understood.
concern.
Thank you for your comment.
Kim Bradkey,
You good? Okay.
Sylvia Pasquini. I also apologize if I butcher anyone's names. Okay.
So I'm not a big speaker, so I wrote it on a piece of paper, so I apologize, but just works for me so I don't get emotional. But thank you for your time. For those of who maybe don't know me, I'm a retired teacher. Sorry. And I'm going to try to get through this. I've worked at Spring Hill School for 34 years, and I'm a para at Roselle Middle. And the proposal of putting a cellular tower near a school, to me, is asinine. But I'll try to go back to my nice speech here. First and foremost, my primary concern is the impact the tower could have for our children. We've all seen how technology has become an integral part of our kids' lives, from education to communication. But we also know that children's developing bodies are more vulnerable to environmental factors. While the research on health effects of cellular towers is still ongoing, there are numerous studies that have shown prolonged exposure to radio frequency radiation, even at low levels, could have potential health risks. Unlike tablets and cell phones, cellular towers cannot be turned off. Now, given that the tower is so close to the school, we need to be absolutely sure that the installation won't harm our children's health or their ability to learn and thrive. Children spend hours each day on the school grounds as well as in the park and in our community, and we need to prioritize that more than my drop calls on Roselle Road. Secondly, living near a cell tower is something that some people find unsettling. There are concerns about the health risks, the aesthetic impact of the tower, and the potential decrease in property value, as you heard. I live in this community. My address is 336 Crestwood Drive. From all the studies that I have read, towers should be placed at a minimum of a mile away from residential housing. Now, you have this in front of a school where kids will be for 7.5 hours, where residents live. To me, this makes no sense when thinking about revenue. Think about lives. As a community, we need to consider whether the benefits of improved cell service outweigh the potential drawbacks, particularly when it comes to the well-being of those who live here. Articles that I have read have said that 1 mile away is the minimum. With technology consistently changing, cell towers will have to get stronger, and they'll have to be faster, and that will have more radio frequencies, more of that just bombarding the growing, developing lives of kids, elderly, adults, everyone. Now, I understand that our cell service here in Roselle isn't great. Many of us, myself included, have struggled with dropped calls and slow data. So I don't want to dismiss the need for that. I know that our data, that I think it was US Cellular, or T-Mobile bought all of US Cellular's towers, so I'm sure that will improve because they've already done that. I believe we need to find a solution that addresses the need while also protecting the people we care about. Putting it on that water tower puts it even closer to my house, puts it even closer to the school. It would be ridiculous. And putting in the park is also another thing. Finally, I want to emphasize that I know this is a conversation. It's a decision that of this magnitude affects all of us, parents, students, teachers, residents. It's important that we come together as a community to weigh those pros and cons, voice our concerns, and ensure that our voices are heard. We vote for referendums. I have always supported what the Park District has done for my kids, my family, for me. We can't think about money all the time. I urge the village to hold more discussions, look for input. I brought 2 articles quickly that I printed out that I had read. It's easy to see. I know there's not a lot of stuff out there about it, but the potential for hazardous radioactive frequency running through our bodies, changing our cells is important, especially near a school. So I implore you to think about all that. I thank you for letting me get emotional because I am not a speaker, but I love this community.
Thank you so much.
Jeff Pito.
Jeff, can I get your full name and your address, please?
It's Jeffrey Pito. I live at 28 West Maple Avenue in Roselle, and I'm one of the Roselle Park District Commissioners. So we were approached by Vertical Bridge to consider going through with this contract. One of our chief concerns was safety and the coverage in that area. There's been numerous times where I've been talking on my cell phone with our executive director and the call just disappears and she's at Kemmerling. So one of our concerns, chief concerns, is the safety, not only for that complex, but also the school area and the people that are using coverage, especially the kids, because all kids nowadays have phones also. Our concern also was for the neighborhood. I grew up in that area, so I'm very concerned with aesthetics and how everything looks. So when they told us that it was going to try and blend in and look like a tree and not be standing out and objective to some of the neighbors, that's when we decided to move forward with this. We did have open meeting before this was even voted on for the proposal for the contract. And unfortunately, we really did not have any of the residents show up to state their concerns or objections.
Did you have conversations with Verizon?
With Verizon, no, just with Greg's firm.
So you didn't, I'm assuming that you didn't go through any other viable technological options as well that there might be available. Because I come from a telecommunications background and I know other things exist. So we have solutions out there that may be more expensive, but don't require a tower.
Okay, yes. I mean, we're not aware of that. We're relying on
Okay.
their expertise and the questions that we had, for them at the time. So that was
Okay.
pretty well covered.
That's fine.
Did you take multiple bids? Were there any other bidders looking for this?
No.
Do you know how much the rent is per month?
Yes, it's right around the 2,000 per month. And then if we get any other carriers that want to join on, there'll be a small extra fee included with that.
Are there any other locations within the Park District that are more viable than this?
Not that we're aware of. We were just approached, by this firm. So I do know that working for the village that we did consider the Devlin treatment facility probably 20 years ago or more. But that was voted down at the time. So, but like I say, there's been numerous times where I've been on the phone with our executive director, and the coverage in that area really is poor.
It's understandable. I mean, I'm not denying that that coverage is bad. But I think there are other options, is all I'm saying,
Mhm.
which we need to consider. Do you have a question? Can you please come up to the podium?
You have to come up.
Can you come up to the podium, please? Look at your steps today. That's.
So at 370 Crestwood. So given that this is going to help Verizon customers, and how far is the range of this is one question. Also, what do you have the number of Verizon users that will be in the spot that this will work for?
I don't have that information. The number of coverage radius this tower be about a half mile phone.
Okay.
At least according to the map.
Okay. So
And that's in terms of, and it starts to get
weaker and weaker is right. Yep. Yeah. It would be nice to know. I mean, how many customers are actually going to be helped? Because I also live on Crestwood, know some other folks on Crestwood. We all had AT&T. So this is not going to be happening, you know, and then T-Mobile, you know, so there are a lot of others. So that would be great info to have.
It's also the traffic.
Yeah, for half a mile. Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying that I'll do that.
Okay, well, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you so much.
Yeah.
Last one?
I'm gonna butcher this person's name, Yaro Soon.
Sir, can I also get your full name and address?
Yes. Yaroslav Gnachuk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Ukrainian. It's all right.
It really did look like a UN, not a SLA.
Right. Address is 340 South Prospect Street. That is about 234 feet from the tower. So to me, it is a concern. I reviewed the engineering drawings, and I would like to recommend that the board does not approve the zoning permit for the following concerns. It's been talked about, but the first one is the health effects. And we all know that, maybe not all, but some people, that cell towers emit non-ionization energy. It's known as radio frequency radiation and heat. The FCC dictates, that there are low dosage limits. But I don't know if most people know that, but the radio frequency radiation, it pulsates and fluctuates. So for example, if you were to come and test out the radiation coming out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it would be much different if it's coming out at midnight because you have all sorts of traffic going back and forth. A single point does not give you a whole picture as to how much exposure our children have. I am a father of 3 young children, and their safety is my paramount, and I'm really concerned because certain points were brought, and I like to repeat that children have developing brains, and they're more sensitive to the radio frequency radiation, and it's not on-off. Their bodies are thinner, they're developing. Their heads result in a shorter distance for the radio frequency to travel to their brain regions. And so peer review article in Environmental Reviews by Levitt did an analysis of 100 other studies that found that 80% of students showed some biological effects near towers. And as a general guideline, it stated that cell-based towers should not be located less than 1,500 feet from population. In fact, other communities in America have policies, ordinances, or zoning measures that ensures that the cell towers are at a minimum from schools. Cities like Copiague, New York, 1,500 feet, Sallisaw, Oklahoma, 1,500 feet, Stockbridge, Massachusetts, 1,500 feet. So why am I saying this? Because if you look, the distance from the tower to the edge of the Roselle Middle School is 849 feet. So that is within that distance. The other concern that I have is property values, specifically residential property values within the 1,500 feet. Historically, property values near cell towers decrease. There was research shows that 90% of the home buyers would pay less for a property near a cell tower. Even a business article cited a survey where 94% of the people said they would not buy or rent a home next to a cell tower. And I went and tested that theory at work. And out of the 15 people, no one said they wanted to be within the 234 feet of the tower. Another article cited that a community in California noticed a 20% drop in property values. The Appraisal Journal cites that homes near cell towers have a reduction in property values between 2 to 10%. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, classifies a cell tower as a hazard and nuisance and required appraisers to adjust the value due to the market and the effect of marketability. A study done by Empirical Economics in 2019 in August titled The Disseminated Value of Cell Towers on Home Prices in Market, Savannah, Georgia, found that homes close to the towers sell for a discount of up to 7.6%, and noticeable effects disappear at 1,500 feet. The same study also found that the effect of a cell tower on a residential property value during a declining market can drastically even decrease the value. And so my concern is that, I understand that I'm close to it, but that I'm sure nobody wants that. I understand that there is a problem, that there is maybe some kind of issues with the Verizon cell power, but I'm a Verizon customer too, and I get 2 bars. I'm not complaining. And if I had that reduced service, I would do it for the sake of my children. Because I love my children and I protect my children. And I'm sure every one of us would do the same if we were placed in that position. So I would say, did we consider the American Legion as a good location? Maybe with other things that don't include a tower, or maybe a booster or some kind of a signal that just helps out? That's food for thought. I don't know if you had an answer for that. And then finally, how will people be compensated if the property values do take effect? That's all I have. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to make, can you please come up to the podium? Can you please state your name and address, please?
Leah Lashover, and I'm at 344 South Prospect.
You already swore yourself in, right?
I swear. You did say in your presentation about site selection and how Verizon chooses site selection, elevation, deficiencies, but nowhere in that site selection was the safety of residents or distances from schools. Verizon is about Verizon. And those of us that live there, we have Wi-Fi calling. So we really don't care that there's only 2 bars because we have Wi-Fi. But I know, just like Yarrow said, the safety of children should be in a site selection. Many municipalities and towns are now putting it in their ordinance of that 1,500 feet. Some of them have 3,000 feet. Spring Hills is within 3,000 feet. So I think that proximity to the school is not a concern of Verizon, but it should be a concern of Roselle. That's all I have.
Hey,
I'm at 425 South Prospect Street, and I will be sitting on my porch looking directly at that tower. So I completely oppose this. My first question will be structure maintenance and bushes, and what kind of fence? Okay. Well, I personally am coming to the board to tell you, I had a friend when I was younger who climbed a tower and fell to his death. With this looking like trees, it's going to be easier to climb. Do I want to put that at a risk with middle school children? And we know the increase of suicides. That's number 1. The 3 locations that you provided, how close are they to residents? Compared to what you're opposing here? Did you have 210 feet?
We've never been able to pick a specific location at those properties because the water treatment facility.
The 3 that I know are not 210 feet. Speaking about profitability, you said that when you build your tower, you can rent it out to others to put their cell things on there, whatever they are. Is that not just profit gain for Verizon and the Park District?
Well, for the structure of Vertical Bridge, yes, it would be profit. That they build the structure and later that's
So,
just provide structure for an alternative tenant. Yes.
so we're here to profit and not safety. That's what I'm seeing in this. And for the Park District, Comcast has antennas. You can provide Comcast at Kimmerling Pool for your staff to be able to have Wi-Fi calling when needed. Have you looked into that prior to looking into a tower? I bet that was not even thought about. I'm disappointed that the Park District had a hearing, but definitely I never got a letter. I don't think my neighbors did either. And this affects my view, my home value, my safety of my children. So I am disappointed in the Roselle Park District, which I stood for the past 20 years, 22 years. So I have concerns about health risk and the cost that this is going to affect our community. And I am pleading with this board to think about our community, as we are a small community who cares about our children and our community and safety.
Is anybody here familiar with the Telecommunications Act of 1996? Apparently you are.
Yeah, I was hoping.
It prohibits denying permits for cellular towers based on environmental effects of radio frequency RF emissions if the towers comply with Federal Communication FCC guidelines. Provision was enacted to prevent local authorities from using unsubstantiated health concerns as a pretext for denying a tower application. I still don't like the idea of a tree. But I managed to get 2 cars for it.
Okay, and
I understand the
have
tree.
one more comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Come on. No. I'm within 400 feet. My son, my son, his house is right there, his backyard. I've got a granddaughter.
Sir, could you address the commission, please? We're playing a little fast and loose with the talking back and forth, but the public
Sorry.
comment is for the public to address the board
Okay,
here.
sorry. That comment, the pros and cons for whether it causes damage or it doesn't, isn't really there. And as far as I'm concerned, it does, but that's just my opinion. I don't think there's facts that'll go either way. But for what he's saying, there's an act that says you can't stand in the way of building a tower. I'm sorry, but my property value is going to stand in the way. I don't want a tower dictating what I can get if I sell my property. I don't think anybody else here feels that way. And every one of you, I'm sure, have kids, grandkids. I'm old. And I care about them. And I care about the sightly, and I've lived in Roselle since 1955 when I was born. My parents have been here since 1949. 49? Yeah. So this was all farmland at one point. And I could tell you who lived in the house when it was built, okay? Putting an unsightly tower I think, well, first of all, I think what they're doing to the, with the pool, all the modifications, David, the mayor, David Polinsky, that's his last name, I'm sorry.
Lesky.
If I say that wrong, forgive me, is doing a great job with the village and all the things that are happening. To put a tower in the middle of a residential area is just not the right thing to do. I'm thinking we do need coverage. I don't disagree with that. I think the coverage should not come at a cost of unsightly, demeaning the property or taking the property value down. I think the best thing we can do is find a location that is not going to inhibit children, property values. We were thinking of something like the Legion Hall. There's the Legion Hall would love to have that because, it's an income for them. And there isn't really anything around there but in industry. Really no houses in the parking lot there. It'd be a perfect spot for it. There are places that we can put this tower without putting it in the middle of property. Now, the biggest thing I have is a granddaughter, and she's just a freshman in high school, and her bedroom is 400 feet away from that tower. And if there is any bit of a possibility that this is going to do some harm to my kids, my grandkids, and I'm sure all of you feel the same way, you wouldn't put your kids in harm's way. God bless you.
Understood. Thank you. Any other? Get your name and address, please.
Get emotional. I just had one quick comment. Last year, Natick 340 South Prospect.
Take your time.
So my comment is shame on the park district for always including updates about the construction at Kemmerling, mentioning pool, mentioning playground, but why not mention this beautiful tower as well? That I do not understand. Because I get all the emails, I look at the brochures. If this is going in the park, that's basically in my backyard, they say tennis courts, they say pool, they mention playground, but why not this tower? And I have to every day now look in my backyard and wonder how that is going to affect most of all my children. I don't care if obviously if there's not enough research, then I don't want to be the research. I don't want to be the guinea pig. And not only that, but as my husband had said, the property value. That's it.
Thank you.
I had one more thing. I did a little research on that monopine. And so there was, like, if you do Google, like, it is a PVC type of plastic for the pine needles. And there is a lot of videos and people that will say, like, it falls off, it gets into the storm sewers, it causes problems, and they're not that old. So I think a little bit more research on the decorative effects of this monopole and how it's going to affect our park district, as well as the drainage, which I know we have problems here in Roselle with our sewer systems and drainage and that kind of things too, to see, like, is that monopole with this PVC fake pine needles, is it worth it, right? Like, is it worth that decorative fact? I mean, it still looks like a cell tower. So I don't know that hiding it that way is worth it for our maintenance of our storm sewers and park too, if it's just going to kind of fall off. And then, like I said, you can do a quick Google search on the monopine, Verizon monopine, and you'll see people with their videos of picking up the garbage that has fallen off of this. As well as with the park district and revenue, I'm also pretty disappointed. Like, we passed a bond last year for $7 million. I don't think you guys need 22,000, to put up this unsightly thing in our parks.
Thank you. For additional comments, I have a request that if something's already been stated, and if you have something new to state, then please come up, but we don't want to repeat what's already been said. Can I get your name and address?
Michael Ogden, 2308 East Turner Avenue.
Mhm.
I don't have too much background into the telecommunications, but work as an engineer in the oil and gas industry. So I understand regulations and the governing bodies that give guidelines to certain structures, whatever it may be. Understand FCC and their guidelines. I'll speak to at least my experience that we have in the oil and gas. We have OSHA and we have other bodies that do govern emissions, very carcinogenic emissions to the human body. But if there's ever a leak, who's going to stop that leak? As happened in a known refinery on the border of Indiana and Illinois, there was a leak that was able to be detected from about 25 miles away. My point to make with that, and that was a good point that was brought up earlier by Ms. Pasquini, once the rights are given to this tower, there's not, at least no restrictions on the strength of the signal. And I think that's what most people are concerned with their children and the safety. Who's to say that, you can't expand? We say we might have one specific carrier that is installing their towers, but other carriers may install their towers as well. And down the road, 5, 10 years, 15 years, a lot of these people have been here since the 50s, the prior gentleman. 5, 10, 15 years, there's no long-term studies, there's no long-term goals to show how it's going to affect the children and the residents of this area. So I would just say that's my general comment to consider. We may be looking at this now, but down in the future, nobody really knows the effects of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, commissioners, any comments from you guys? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Make that motion.
Roll call vote, Karen?
Brian Boos.
Aye.
Jason Wertz. Lydia Galante.
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Yes.
Chairman Patel.
Yes. Hey, guys, what do you think? Any comments or are you ready to vote?
So I'll share something. So I live in the tan zone, and I would very much like to live in the blue zone. So I'm in favor of this. My home coverage is terrible. I had to put in a LTE repeater, which is not as good and not as fast.
So, I mean, I already stated this. I think there's other options that are out there that can still suffice your need without a tower.
So
I don't
there
think
are,
we've-
but no one else is going to put them in.
Sounds like from the petition.
Sounds like we need better discussion.
Something in.
Well, the park district didn't ask them. This organization approached the park district.
Yep.
Right, so if we've got a concern, we need to basically get the carriers involved and find a better solution.
But if we, no one's doing that today, and no one's going to do that today. That this is an opportunity to fix a coverage issue that exists, that, multiple people, whether they're for it or against it, have said, yes, this is an issue. And if we say, hey, no, let's not build this, then we're saying, yes, we want to have terrible service in our town. Yeah.
The end of the day, if part of this process is over, please.
The public hearing process is, the public hearing is closed, so there can't be any more comments from the public.
We're not necessarily saying no yet today, but if they really want to do this and they want to earn revenue, then maybe that they should explore alternative options. So the only things that we could find online from residential, FCC doesn't even guideline it yet, is the most shortest distance I found was 1320 feet. 1,320 feet from residential was the closest I could find for a residential distance. That takes you past the junior high, that takes you past all these residents.
So none of us here are cellular engineers or FCC engineers. I mean, if
Agreed.
it's either in compliance and they have an FCC license, and if it's not in compliance, then they'll yank it and Verizon will be in trouble. So it's required to be in compliance, and there's a lot of what about it? Like, yes, there's always it could catch on fire, it could tip over. Like those are all risks with any structure that exists. So it's not necessarily unique to it being a cell tower.
I don't know that the debate is necessarily here today about the FCC or even if that this is necessary within the community. The debate here is, does it belong 200 feet from a little girl's bedroom?
And basically, I think the question is really, we don't know the answer to Jason's question is because, and the American Academy of Pediatrics says they don't know either. They don't have any studies, they don't have, and to the point of one of the public comments, like, I'm really not interested in a middle school being the guinea pigs for
I
this
think I'm more
study.
disappointed in this and with the park district that no other alternatives have been explored. I wish every first person I called for something to sell them, they said yes, for sure. So, I mean, my vote's going to be a no, and it's specifically along that there's been no other investigation for alternative purposes. There's been no other investigation. Where this goes, could this belong on the roof of Klaus? In all fairness, I think it's still close to somebody else's house. So the Legion Hall, all those other different things, it belongs in an industrial park. Belongs somewhere else, and maybe people need to get a different service.
We're a residential community, so we have lots of residences, and it's, everyone wants to have coverage, they just don't want that coverage to come from something near them. And given where we have other towers, like this is, looking at the coverage map and looking at my own experience with, being around town and where I have bars and where I don't, like this is ideal to service a large portion of our town that doesn't have very good coverage.
I could partially agree with you, except that no alternatives have been explored. So let's find out that there's no alternative and the risk reward.
So I don't think that's fair to the petitioner. That's like if someone who is a dog walker comes and they say, hey, I want a permit, and we say, well, have you tried running a lemonade stand first? Like that's not part of what we're debating in terms of the viability of the project. We're saying, does this meet our zoning code? Yes, it does. Does staff recommend this? Yes, they do. Does this comply with applicable regulations? Yes, it does. Therefore, based on those merits, it would make sense to approve this.
Doesn't it also need to be in the benefit of the community? Because I think the community is here today saying it's not.
Well, I think there are pros and cons, and there are people who said they're in favor of it, and I'm in favor of it, and there are people who have said they're not, and there's robust debate is the foundation of democracy, and we'll vote on this and see what happens.
Agreed.
I'm a no. I agree with you.
At that point, if nobody else has a comment on it,
Lydia,
we're ready to vote.
comments?
Feel ready to vote?
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the findings of fact for a special use permit for PC 251138?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Brian Booz,
Aye.
Jason Wertz,
No.
Lydia Galante,
No.
Joseph Lewis,
Yes.
Chairman Patel.
No. Can I get a motion to recommend approval to the village board for PC 251138?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Brian Booz,
Aye.
Jason Wertz,
No.
Lydia Galante,
No.
Joseph Lewis,
Yes.
Chairman Patel.
No. Okay. I think that concludes PC 251138. Any old business that we need to discuss? Any new business? Hey, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?